Hello, everybody. Good evening. All right, I am starting off my evening right. My beautiful daughter Charlie made me a fresh cup of the hazelnut decaf, my absolute favorite. So, cheers, everybody. I'll wait a few minutes for everybody to jump on board. Mm, mm-hmm. Oh, I earned this one today. All right, guys, for those of you watching the replay, please put replay in the comment section. I do like to go back after the shows are over and just watch and see who put replay and pick up any questions that may have come up after the show wrapped up. So if you're watching the replay, welcome and put that in the comment section for me. Okay, I see some people jumping on board this evening, guys. As you jump on board, you know the routine. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and more importantly, what's in your mug. So cheers. Hey, Harsh. No, Harsh, you're not watching the replay. You're watching the live thing. Cheers, Harsh. Always good to see you. All right, guys. We got Glenda on board. Okay, I see these names popping up. Awesome. All right, guys, don't be shy. Let me know who you are, especially my newbies. I love hearing from my folks who are watching the show for the first time. Love to get to know you. We got David Donahue in South Carolina having his green tea. Harsh from Richmond, Virginia. We got David on board. So good to see you, David Franklin. And we got Debbie Router from Iowa. So Iowa's probably getting a little bit cooler weather because here in Tampa, it's actually not 95 degrees anymore. It's 92 degrees. Welcome to fall. All right. All right, guys. So we've got a lot of exciting things happening in Cozy Talks world this past week. We got Benny on board listening from Texas. Astros up by 10, 1-0. Okay. All right. Go Astros. All right, guys. And I am broadcasting from my YouTube channel. So for those of you who prefer to watch from a different platform, YouTube is another option where you can watch me under Cozy Talks. And also for folks who are not necessarily on Facebook, this is something you can recommend to them. Let's see, a few more comments. We got Doug. Happy Halloween, Doug. Pup and family. Yep. Can't wait to see it. Yeah, one more week. One more week, Doug. We got Glenda in Seattle with her hot chocolate and her Cozy Talks mug. Glenda's one of my cool kids. Cheers to you, Glenda. We've got Jeffrey on board with the mat stretching, those hip flexors. Yes. Drinking bottled water where you are hot off of that bilateral amputee boot camp, Jeff. So I know you are motivated to get those hip flexors going. We got Kenny in Virginia Beach, Virginia, Valerie Boatman in Alabama. Roll Tide. We got Marlene on board. Oh, Somanga. Oh, thank you, Marlene. Let's see. We got Johnny B from Poughkeepsie, New York, celebrating a very special anniversary. I believe, Johnny, today was the anniversary that you went into the military. Is that correct, Johnny? Thank you for your service. We got Van Gregory on board from Texas. We've got Matthew from Mobile, Alabama, waiting on the storm. There you go. Hey, Alex, glad you could join in. Oh, Coast. And then Marlene is from Stone Mountain. Got a lot of great people on board. Bonnie took her first step with her stubbies and sidekicks. Yes, first steps in 4 years. Congratulations, Bonnie. You've had a long road, and I'm so happy to see you going forward with that. Hey, Patricia, I am so glad you're here, darling. I've got your question ready to go. We've got Denise, go Heels, beat Notre Dame. Debbie with her LaCroix and ice and cool kids mug. Excellent. Oh, Johnny. Well, Donnie, thank you for your service, guys. And guys, speaking of which, I'll do this little plug now. November 10th, which is a Wednesday, I'll be doing my Veterans Tribute. And this show is being sponsored by VitalFit. And I have a special guest coming on board. Those of you might know I'm an Army brat, so veterans hold a very special place in my heart. So kind of put that one in your calendar. And next week, holy smokes. Who here saw my little promo for next week? Anybody see it? Raise your hand. Yeah, watch it. No, watch it. All right, guys, maybe I should probably introduce myself for those of you who are watching me for the first time. Welcome. My name is Cozy Belloso. I'm a physical therapist amputee specialist here in Tampa, Florida. I've been a PT now for a little over 18 years, and working with the limb loss community is a passion for me. Hey, well, madre, you made it. Oh, girl, I'm so glad you're here. Let's see. Doug had his first day in the pool as a bilateral in the win column. You can check that off. That's for sure, Doug. Debbie saw the commercial. Okay, so guys, I'm going to wait just a little bit. I'm going to wait because I'm expecting a couple more people to pop on board. Alex is a veteran from North Carolina, ×3 left. Oh, thank you for your service, Alex. Hey, Kelly, so glad you could join us this evening. All right, guys, we got a nice full complement on board. So guys, last week, right, I gave you guys the 411 on balance, right? The secret to balance. And we had such great conversation about it that I didn't get to finish all the material I had prepared. So it's kind of nice because it gives me something more to talk about this week. And I know many of you watched the replays from last week and we're asking me more questions about balance. So we're going to kind of do a quick recap of what we talked about last week on balance. And then I'm going to share more with you specifically on how exactly you can start improving your balance. All right. We got Marianne Thompson from South Dakota. There we go. All right, guys. So let's just do a little quick recap. So what is balance exactly? Our balance, the overall goal of balance, right, is to achieve stability while you're moving around in your environment. Okay. And our brain, specifically the cerebellum, the back part of our brain, is kind of what's in charge of the environment. Our brain takes in sensory input from the environment, from our eyes, our vestibular system in our inner ear, and our somatosensory system. That was our big Jeopardy word last week, right? Somatosensory meaning how we sense the world around us, how we sense the world on our body, okay? This is where proprioception comes into play that many of you have heard me talk about over and over and over again, okay? So our body takes this information, shoots it to our brain processes it, and then shoots out the orders to our muscles to react to the different challenges that might happen in our balance, okay? And it can be something as small as just a little bit of movement in the ankle muscles, right, to keep ourselves steady, or it could be something big where our brain is telling us to activate our core, to activate our arms as we're being pitched forward to regain our balance again, right? We good? Yes, everybody needs it, Debbie. Everybody needs balance work, myself included. So guys, what happens when there is injury to balance, right? So we talked a little bit last week on neurological injury, when a person has a stroke, when a person has a traumatic brain injury, and how that can mess with different parts of your brain. It can affect your vision. It can affect your vestibular system, right? It can affect how your body senses things, right? So it's a neurological damage, and our brain has to kind of rewire itself and learn how to do it again. Hey, compadre, glad you could join in, man. So what happens with amputation? There's no brain damage per se, right? There was no damage to the brain unless you're a mother of 4 kids like me, in which case I've had brain damage for a long time, right? It's more of a mechanical issue, right? Our brain is going, wait a second, something's not there. Oh, am I not on Facebook? I should be on Facebook, Mark. Uh-oh. Guys, quick stop. Can you guys see me on Facebook? As always, I always have a little technical glitch here and there. Mark, you're not seeing me on Facebook. Is anybody else able to see me on my Facebook Cozy Talks page? Okay, yeah, Theo Rue is seeing me. Johnny is seeing me on Facebook. Okay, yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Mark, it's you. It's not me. Sorry, but I hate to say it to you that way, but it's you. Right. But guys, if you are having, thank you guys for popping in. If you are having any difficulty seeing me on Facebook, you can always jump in on my YouTube channel, same streaming. Thank you guys. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you. So let's get back to what I was saying, right? So with amputation, it's not damage in the brain. It's just your brain is recognizing that there's something different. Something's not there. And your brain is trying to interpret different signals, like what's going on, right? So we talked about what happens. Okay, so a lot of times with amputation, right, your brain starts to rely more upon vision. You guys remember that? You see me now? Didn't get a notification. That is odd, Mark. Huh, okay. We'll try to figure that one out later. Okay, so anyways, guys, when you have amputation, right, your sense of proprioception is lost. You don't have a foot there anymore. You don't have that sensory input coming from the bottom of your feet, from the parts of your lower leg, and in those of you who are above the knee amputees, from your knee. You don't have that input coming in anymore for your body to tell you where it is in space. So your body starts to rely more upon vision. Okay, it starts to rely more upon vision. So I came up with this interesting analogy. And guys, those of you who know me, I have 4 kids. I have a wonderful husband and 4 kids. And I think about it this way. When my husband and I go out into the world with our kids, whether we take them to the beach or a theme park, right? We work together as a team. Thank goodness, right? We work together as a team. We make a great team. Our kids are great. We have a good time when we go out as a family. When I go out by myself with my 4 kids, and I do it all the time, it's different, right? I'm missing that other set of eyes that my husband is able to provide. and I get more edgy, right? Because I'm more nervous because I realize it all depends upon me and I got to keep my kids safe and make sure that they don't get lost or anything like that. And I'm like, don't do this, don't do that. And it creates a bit more tension. Guys, this is what happens to your brain after amputation. You've lost that sense of proprioception, right? So your brain starts to rely upon the vision and your brain starts to get nervous and tells you, okay, don't move here. Don't move like that. You're moving too much. You're going to lose your balance. Does that kind of sort of make sense? I know it's a weird analogy, but does that kind of sort of make sense? So what happens is your gait pattern becomes very stiff, right? You're kind of afraid to move your arms, rotate your trunk, swing your arms, right? Because your brain's telling you, don't do that, don't do that. You're going to lose your balance. Only do what we can see, right? Only do what we can see. And you have to basically bring in that player back into the game, right? You got to bring the husband back into the game. You got to bring the proprioception back into the game so that your proprioception can help and you can, as together as a team, work together to improve your balance and allow that freedom in your body. My kids say it all the time. We like it better when daddy's with us because you let us do more things. We have more freedom. Why? Because I have that extra sense of an extra pair of eyes. Yes, Jim, I do have those eyes in the back of my head. I keep them well hidden. But yes, you're absolutely right. Okay. All right, guys. So that's kind of what happens. So a lot of times when my patients come in to see me and I see that their balance is not that great, we start working on bringing proprioception back into the game, right? And in bringing proprioception back into the game, we start getting all three systems working together. We're going to get the visual, the vestibular, and the somatosensory systems working together to improve the balance. Yeah? You guys with me so far? Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right. So we're going to take a pause for just a moment, and I'm going to share a video with you. I'm going to kind of like turn left on this one. So I've been talking a lot about a project that I've been working on for the better part of 2 years. And next Wednesday, November 3rd, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you guys need to be here sitting in front of your computer screen to watch because we are launching. So I'm going to give you, if you haven't seen it already, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek because you guys are special and you're here watching me this evening. And we're going to give you a sneak peek as to what's happening. You guys with me? Somehow I didn't think it was working. Didn't work, did it? All right, guys, give me a second. Just when I think I've got it figured out. Hello. All right, guys. Cheers. My sweet daughter made me fresh cup of decaf for the show for tonight. So I am enjoying one of my favorite decaf from the local fresh market. See, now that's what happens when Kosi tries to experiment with things and it just doesn't work out. This is why I have an amazing tech team who helps me out. Well, that went sideways. All right, guys. Hopefully, if you have a chance, go back to my Facebook page. It's in all my Instagram accounts, and you guys can see the little sneak preview of what's coming next week. I'll just give you guys a hint. It's something that many of you have been asking me to do for the past couple of years. So let's get back to the balance talk, shall we? All right, we're going to leave the high-tech stuff for my team for later on. All right, guys. So how exactly does the brain learn balance again? Okay. And here's the thing, that an old dog can learn new tricks, right? So basically, you can either relearn old skills or learn new ones, okay? A large part of it is breaking the old habits, okay? Now, when my oldest daughter was about 10 months old, right? I had a little play ball for her, right? And I'm sure many of you know about this ball. This was actually my ball when I was, a little baby as well. And the ball has a lot of shapes on it, right? And it's got a lot of cutout shapes in the ball. And the kid has to get the little shape, find the little cutout that it matches to, and stick it in so that it goes into the ball. Does that ring any bells for you guys? So you have like a circle shape, a star shape, a triangle shape, a square. So this is my first kid, so obviously I didn't know what I was doing. And I hand my daughter the circle shape thinking, okay, it's the easiest one. And I just give it to her. And of course, she's just kind of, looking at it and just kind of trying to stick it in her mouth. And then I show her the ball and I go like this, right? Like put it in the ball. And she's still kind of looking at me like, So what I had to do was I had to cover up the other cutouts and just leave the circle shape open. So basically the only thing that she could see was the circle shape. And then boom, that's what clicked. So I had to remove all the other stimulus from her sight. I had to remove everything else and just allow her brain to focus on the one shape. So then she got used to putting the circle shape into the circle hole, right? And then once she got used to that, then I could uncover another cutout and I gave her another simple one. The square was the next simple one. So I would uncover the square hole, put the square into there, boom. And then as she got better at it and as her brain learned it, then I could uncover more of the cutouts and give her the more complicated things to do to build upon it, okay? And guys, I know that sounds kind of ridiculously, it's a child's game, but that's how our brains learn. That's how our brains learn complicated movements. We've got to start out with the super, super simple, right? We have to remove all the extra stimuli out of your environment. Otherwise, your brain can't process and it's going to go, what? And, try to stick a shape in your mouth and, all that kind of stuff, okay? So when it comes to working with balance, this is why you see me doing very simple exercises. Susan, remember, she says she had that ball as well. Debbie had that ball for her son. Hey, Karen, glad you could join us, right? So that's how you have to think of balance, right? So when you're doing something like strengthening, right? And your therapist tells you, okay, lift your leg up 10 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not a whole lot of brain activity going on there, right, guys? It's basically just like, okay, lift, do the job, make those muscles contract, overload those muscles so they can get stronger. Balance is different. This is a skill. This is a complicated skill your brain needs to learn and coordinate. Okay. So many times you guys have seen it, and I would try to share it, but we all saw how I just botched that up. So I'm not going to be able to share that quite yet. But I want you guys, when you have a chance, go to YouTube and type in Mission Gait COSI, right? When you type that in, you're going to see a series of 3 videos that I've done with the Mission Gait organization. And I start off with the weight shifting exercises, right? How many of you guys have tried my weight shifting exercises? Anybody? Show of hands. Show of hands. Hey, Linda. How many of you have tried those weight shifting exercises? Daryl says it's still in my closet. Huh? Okay. Yeah. David has, Mark has, Debbie has, Kenny has. Okay. So guys, it's a pretty simple exercise, right? And this is something that, Theo, you haven't done it yet. You're going to want to try this one. Diana has tried it. Linda's tried it. Okay. It's a very simple one. It can be done by a below the knee and above the knee, a unilateral amputee and a bilateral amputee. And the best part is it can be done at home, right? Marianne's tried it. Okay. So guys, if you're starting this exercise out for the first time, do it in front of a kitchen counter in case you need the support. Okay. And the first step is just putting your feet 4 to 6 inches apart. This is 4 to 6 inches apart. It's not very far apart, right? And the thing is, many of you are accustomed to having your feet further apart. Why? Because it's more stable, right? Remember what I said? Your brain's telling you, stand with your feet far apart. Don't move, right? So you don't lose your balance, right? Okay. So first step is putting your feet closer together where they're supposed to be. And unless you're over 6 feet tall, this is about normal for standing how far apart your feet should be, right? Second step is line up your toes, right? Make sure that the toes are not like this. Make sure that they're even when you look down at your toes. Notice how I said when you look down at your toes, right? A lot of people think that in order to learn balance, they have to look up. Well, how is your brain supposed to start learning where it is in space if you don't feed it information, right? So this is the equivalent of covering up the cutouts, right? And just leaving the circle cutout open, right? And showing my daughter that circle cutout. That's what you're doing at this point. You're looking down and you're telling your brain that there's feet there, that they're even, and that prosthetic foot is in fact a part of your body. Glenda says she does them daily. Theo, you're getting your first prosthetic leg on November 2nd, buddy. This exercise, you're going to want to do it. David says, if you have fat legs, then you do the best that you can, David. We all have a little bit of that chub rub going on. No worries. All of us have that, right? So you put your legs as close as you possibly can, okay? And looking down, okay? So then after that, once you're nice and even, you start shifting side to side. Why side to side? Because it's the easiest shifting position, right? Remember what I said, you put easy steps in first to allow your brain to accommodate, to allow your brain to learn those new things and establish new neural pathways, right? So you start the side to side shifting. And if I see that my patient is comfortable doing that and they don't have like a death grip on the parallel bars, at that point, then I have them start to look up and straight ahead in front of them. And we might do the weight shifting for about 15, 20 seconds. And then what I do is I have my patient stop and then look back down. Have their feet shifted. Many times there's like a little bit of a shift in the foot and they haven't realized it yet. So I have them stop what they're doing, put the feet back into the square up position, and then start the weight shifting again. It's the equivalent of when my daughter was trying to put the circle into the wrong place and I would hold her hand and say, okay, no, let's put it into the circle hole. That's what you're doing with your brain, is you're guiding your brain and you're teaching your brain where it needs to go. Does that make sense, guys? This is my favorite part. I love doing this part with my patients because when they start working on it, you just start to see things start to click and things start to fall into place. And you can even see it on my patients' faces where they're just like, oh, okay, so this is what it really feels like to be balanced. And I can put weight in through my prosthetic and I'm not necessarily going to fall down, right? So it's nice to see that, okay? Denise says, need to do this more. My feet are way too far apart. And guys, don't underestimate this exercise. It's been around since like the 60s or 70s, right? The PTs have been using this exercise for a long, long time because it works. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to create these super fancy exercises with pulleys and gym equipment. This works, okay? So we do the side-to-side weight shifting. And once people get comfortable, and it's not like the hula girl on the car dashboard, right? It's small weight shifting, right? Just to let your body know. You're putting weight into that prosthesis. You're putting weight into that residual limb, right? And your body starts to calm down. There was a question earlier about phantom pain. Let me see if I can grab it. Bonnie asked about if phantom sensation ever goes away. Every time I try to my stomach, my PT has to hold my left leg. So the sensation, guys, and this is just an overall, just me being in the field for 18 plus years, sensation and phantom pain, it's usually the most intense in the beginning. And for many, many people, the more they use their prosthetic devices, it starts to ease up over time. For some people, it doesn't go away. Okay. And many people are usually left permanently with some sort of phantom sensation. But I can tell you that when you're doing these weight shifting exercises, You're feeding your brain information, and that's what your brain wants. It wants information, because if you don't give it good information, it's going to go looking for love in the wrong places, right? And it's going to recall previous memories, which could be painful memories, right? Okay, so you're doing the lateral weight shifting, right? You're going side to side, side to side. You're looking up. You're doing fine. Now it's time to change it up a bit. Now it's time to give your brain the square shape, right? It's time to uncover another one of the little cutouts and give them the square shape, okay? And that is usually in the form of forward and backward. And guys, during this time, whenever I see my patient's feet start to get out of place, I stop them immediately. Why? Because I want to prevent bad habits. And I want their brain to recognize what it feels like when they get out of place. Because that's how your brain starts to learn, wait a second, this is not what it's supposed to feel like. And I have them stop, look down, square up again, right? And then start the exercise again. And then you can start the forward backward. And when I do forward backward, I mean you're going from your heel to toe. I'm exaggerating a little bit now for the camera, but it's just a very subtle movement. Okay. And the cool thing about the forward backward is you're cueing your body as to what it's going to feel like when you move your body weight forward to take that first step. And for many of you, especially my above the knee amputees, that can be scary because that's when your prosthetic foot, your prosthetic knee might start to unlock when you put a toe load on there. Or in the case of I think it's the sea leg, right? When you pitch forward and the gyroscope reads, right? And that's when it starts to unlock the knee, I think. Hopefully I got that one right. Yeah, so Mark says a friend is a bilateral for 17 years, still has phantom pain. And guys, I've done several shows on phantom pain. You can find that on my YouTube channel. Yes, it's a shameless plug I'm giving you right now, and I am sending you to my YouTube channel. Lots of good videos there. I did several videos on phantom pain, and you can find it under the 2-minute chat section. You'll find all the videos on phantom pain listed under there. Blue Diva says, I'm 6 years left above the knee and I still run through my basic physio when I put my leg on in the morning. I've noticed that when I don't, my walking gait is off for the rest of the day. And thank you so much for saying that. I love the name Blue Diva. It's true, guys. The same way that as athletes, they warm up before they just take off running. You don't just take off running at a 6-minute pace. You warm up your muscles, you warm up your body, right? Same thing when you're walking with a prosthesis. And that's exactly what I will tell my patients to do when they are starting to really kind of get the groove on with their prosthetic leg and physical therapy treatment, and they put it on first thing in the morning. I'll tell them, get in your leg, right? Do some weight shifting. We call it the amputee shimmy, right? Get in there, do some weight shifting, get that residual limb to go all the way down into the socket, get yourself accustomed, and it's kind of cueing your brain as to, okay, are there any changes? Do I need to add a sock? Do I need to take away a sock? Oops, my leg is a little bit swollen today, so I need to be careful, right? And you're cueing your brain with all of this stuff. All right. So we talked about lateral side to side shifting. We talked forward and backward, right? We call it anterior posterior shifting. The next one, right? The next one's the complicated one, the star shape. That was always the hardest one for my daughter. The star shape. She got the circle, she got the square, she got the triangle, she got the oval. Now came the star shape, right? So give her the star shape. And this part, diagonals, involve staggering your feet, right? And you're only staggering your feet maybe 1 step length apart. It's not very much. And you're still keeping your feet about 4 to 6 inches apart. Someone made a comment there that their physical therapist allows them to do up to 8 inches apart. Again, guys, this is the textbook. Textbook tells you 4 to 6 inches apart. And with all my patients, I put them at 4 to 6 inches. And then I look to see at my individual, if this is not working out for them, if they have a little bit of a different skeletal alignment. So for example, if they're a little bit on the knock-kneed side, we call that genu valgum, then I might set their feet apart just a little bit more. If they have a lot of soft tissue in their thighs, okay, then again, I might set their feet apart a little bit more, okay? But the general goal is to bring that base of support in. Make sense? So with the diagonal, and usually what I'll do with diagonals is I'll put the sound leg in front, okay? And the reason is because you're going to start now to weight shift towards the front foot and shift back towards the back foot. And again, for my above the knee amputees, this is where their eyes start to get a little bit big and they get a little bit nervous because they're starting to put weight into that prosthetic foot, into the prosthetic toes. But again, you're providing your brain with a safe, controlled learning environment, right? You're giving the chance to your brain to understand what it feels like to go onto those prosthetic toes and maybe push it just to the point right before it unloads and locks. And sometimes the knee does give out, and that's why we have a kitchen counter in front of us or parallel bars, right? So that you can test this out and see what it feels like. Yes? All right, let's see. We got some questions that have come in. Oh, Debbie, thank you. Thank you, Susan. Let's see. Denise says, I am below the knee. When I have phantom pain, I use my Theragun massage thingy above the bend in my knee, and it works wonders, eases up pain pretty quickly. And Denise, a lot of times people will do that, and it's called kind of the gait control theory of pain. That's where also TENS units come into play, the ones that give you that little pins and needles sensation. So basically what you're doing is you're distracting your brain and you're giving it a different input. Yeah. 1 second, guys, 1 second. And I'm back. The cat opened the door. Don't ask me how. She managed to open the door. All right. Susan said, I'm a little knock-kneed, so maybe that's why he said that to me. Yes. Let's see. So Theo says, I'm a left AK. I feel like my balance is an issue for me at this time. Yes. And Theo, the good thing is and if, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to last week's show, balance can be improved upon. No matter what stage you're at. I've had people who have come in years after their amputation with many, many, many bad habits, and we've been able to improve upon their balance. Now, the earlier you start your therapy, obviously, the more balance you recover and the faster you recover it. But it's never too late to try. It's kind of, if that's one take home I can give you guys tonight, it's that, okay? All right, so we've done the diagonal. So we've done it with the sound foot in the front. And then after you get a little comfortable with that, time to switch and put the prosthetic foot in front and really test that puppy out, right? And again, you're cueing your brain on so many small things, right? You're cueing your brain as to what it feels like to put weight into that prosthetic foot when it is leading, right? You're cueing your brain as to what it feels like when your feet are one step apart, right? Because a lot of times people have a tendency to take a longer step with one leg, tendency to take a longer step with the prosthetic leg and a short step with the sound leg. So this is helping the brain gauge as to how far apart the feet should be. Yeah? Thumbs up? So guys, this is how I want you guys to go to the YouTube channel, and actually on the YouTube channel, and again, I wish my share thing was working. I'm going to try one more time. Will you guys be patient with me for just a moment? I want to try it one more time. Please hold. And I want to see if I can call up the video I want you guys to watch for balance. Here we go. I think I've got it. Aha. Okay. So here it is. And of course it's an ad. Sorry guys, give me a second. Okay, guys, I'm going to put this on. We're going to try one more time. Hey, Rita, glad you could join us. You're joining in at just the right time. I'm going to show you one of my favorite exercise videos on a balance exercise. I'll just show you guys the first few seconds so that later on you can go back to the YouTube channel and watch it. And don't be thrown off, guys. It's a complicated balance exercise, but I break it up into its little components. So you can start as a beginner and work your way up. So let me see if I can do this without messing it up.
Fosu Belloso, physical therapist, amputee specialist. So the video you just saw was my amazing patient Jessica doing a very high level balance exercise that in PT world we call braiding. I love this exercise. It's traditionally used in football, tennis, golf, and runners. What I really like about this exercise is I can use it for my beginner patients who are really starting to establish their balance, my intermediate patients who are putting the polish on their walking patterns, and then my high-level patients like Jessica. So we're gonna break this exercise down. The first part of it is you square up. Second step, you bring your left leg over to the front and then right out to the side. While you're doing this exercise, I want you looking down at your feet so that you know where your feet are in space.
All right, guys, did that work? I know, right, Susan? Hey, Rhonda, glad you could join us. So guys, I put that first video up there. Oh, I'm sorry, Susan. I'm still learning the bells and whistles of this particular software, and I'm trying to work more of the pieces to it so that I can show you guys more things while I'm doing the show. So thank you for being patient with me. But guys, that's on my YouTube channel under the how to do crossovers. So you can find that video there. But yes, it's amazing. You see Jessica, and you can obviously see she's a very high level athlete. And this is one of the exercises that I did with her. But when I first started doing this exercise with her, she had to start from the beginning, just doing the front crossover part. And she had to do it looking down very carefully to make sure she didn't trip or trip over her blade. Okay. And she slowly worked her way up to being able to do the full braiding. And let me tell you, she does it fast. There's another video of her and I on YouTube doing the braiding exercises. She is going faster than I am, without blinking an eye. It's kind of amazing. No. And again, guys, crossovers are something that's a higher level balance. But if you watch the video, you can see how I tell you to modify it to start off with the smaller bits and pieces to it. Blue Diva says, good old crossovers. One thing I've learned with these is to try not to let the femur tap on the inside of the socket when doing this exercise, and try to use your quads to hold the femur still. Look at you. And the other thing you need to do is engaging your glutes, because when you're engaging your glutes with your femur as an above the knee amputee, you're preventing that femur from bell clapping inside of that socket and giving it more stability. And again, guys, this is just one. Denise says, I couldn't do the braid even before amputation. And again, guys, this is just a for example. You can do, instead of doing the full braiding, just work on the front crossover part. And if you can't fully cross one foot cross over the other, then you just start by practicing by putting one foot in front of the other, like that. Okay. So again, you've got to figure out where you are with your balance. Where is your brain? Is your brain at the very beginning where you need to cover all the cutouts in that play ball I kept mentioning? Okay, where you can only leave the circle cutout open? Or is your brain, oh, okay, we've done a few things, so now we can uncover the square cutout and maybe the oval cutout? Or some of you who are more advanced, you're ready for that star shape to go in there, okay? And doing it slowly. And Rhonda, this is one thing I really emphasize with my patients when I'm working with them in the clinic. Slowly. Slowly. Our brain needs time to process, because the thing is, when you start speeding up, our brain kind of sort of goes on autopilot. So if you've learned bad habits, that's what your brain's going to pull out on you. If you haven't given your brain the time to learn good habits, it's going to recall the old ones. Okay, makes sense? Debbie says, got it. Lost my brain a long time ago. I hear you. All right, let's see. All right, guys. So there was a couple of questions that came in. Let me see if I can recall these questions. Here we go. Okay, so this question came in from Patricia. Patricia's a left above the knee amputee. And she says, I'm walking with 2 arm crutches at this time. I have no problem walking a fair distance. When I'm standing doing something, and I'm doing something like washing the dishes, standing at the stove, I get low back pain. Any specific reason for this? It does go away as soon as I sit down for a few minutes. Okay, so Patricia, a couple of things there. Let me see if I can get back to my screen here. Okay, where's Bob? Here, Bob. All right, guys, for those of you who don't know Bob, he is my reluctant mascot and model, occasional model, and very snarky to boot. Okay, so Patricia, if you're using your crutches, right, you're pitching your weight forward. That's how you have to use crutches, right? So your center of gravity is a little bit further forward, and the way your muscles interact is going to be different. And we talked about this on last week's show, that when we first have, the amputation, right, you're using a walker, you're using crutches in some instances, right? So your center of gravity is a little bit forward. Your balance is different, and your brain has to relearn or has to learn a new way of keeping balance with arms engaged, right? Arms not moving freely by the side. So when you take away the crutches and the walker, right, things go kablooey. Why? Because your brain's gotten used to having the crutches and the walker. Your brain has gotten used to those movement patterns and has gotten used to engaging certain muscle groups in a certain way, right? So Patricia, when you let your crutches go and you're at the stove, you're probably not engaging your transverse abdominis. That's that corset muscle in your abdomen. It's a very deep, deep, deep muscle. The big muscle that everybody knows about is the six-pack, the sexy six-pack. That's your rectus abdominis. Way underneath that, right, close to your spine, is your transverse abdominis, okay? That's the muscle that really holds together, helps hold together your trunk, along with your back extensors located on your back, right? Along with your pelvic floor, which is your undercarriage, those muscles right there, okay? So when you let things go, if your transverse abdominis is not activating properly with the rest of your core, you're going to expose yourself to having some back pain, okay? Because if the muscles aren't contracting, that means the stress and the weight of your body goes to your skeleton. And in your case, Patricia, your lower spine, the lumbar spine, okay? And if I had to put money on it, I would say that you're probably maybe even arching your back just a little bit right here to compensate. And that's why you're starting to feel some of the back pain. Again, this is where the efforts of a good physical therapist can really come into play to see and test to see what are the muscles that you're engaging. What are the muscles that you need to start engaging and teaching you how to do that, right? And I know there's a lot of folks out there who are experiencing a lot of back pain as a result. So Susan says, Patricia, even my two-legged friends and family have the lower back pain when doing dishes, and it's because you lean forward, I think. It is. So if you're leaning forward, right, you have to engage those core muscles. Otherwise, the stress falls onto, once again, the lumbar vertebrae. Right? All that stress, all that body stress goes to the lumbar vertebrae. It goes to those discs. And that's how people eventually get herniated discs, because of all the stress that their bones are carrying and that their skeletal structure is carrying. So let's see what else we got. Denise says, why do the comments keep fading? Comment section keeps fading a few seconds if I don't touch it. Denise, I don't know. It's not happening on my end. Let's see. Yep. And I'm on my laptop. I'm not on a mobile device, so I'm not sure what's going on there. So Patricia, I hope that answered your question just a little bit. Good. And guys, I realize now we're still in October, right? October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It is Physical Therapy Month, and it's Hispanic Heritage Month. So I keep saying October is my month. Okay. So I am going to take this opportunity to say, guys, if you don't have a physical therapist on file, if you don't have the name and number of a physical therapist in your Rolodex, and yes, I'm totally showing my age with that, get one. Okay. I did a show last night with Vital Fit, and in it, I talked about the benefits of having a physical therapist. Guys, I have two PTs with their own specialties that, depending on what injury I have or what's going on with me at that time, I will visit one of those two physical therapists. And it took me years to find those particular PTs, to find the PTs that had the specialty that I needed for myself, and that I felt like they knew what they were doing and that they knew how to communicate with me and they knew how to help me get back to my goals. For me, I like to run and I'm a swimmer. Okay. So guys, find a PT. Okay. PTs are wonderful. Even if they don't have experience working with amputees, your bread and butter physical therapist is going to be trained on how to treat and identify back pain, right? Every physical therapist receives gait training. That's the bread and butter of our foundation, of our profession, right? So guys, yeah, Terry says he's got PT on speed dial. Mine's on speed dial too, let me tell you. Let's see. Ben Gergie says, are the exercises okay if I don't have my prosthetics yet? except for the braiding and doing them on my knees as a bilateral BK. I would not recommend that, Van Gregory, mainly because your knees have become more valuable now more than ever since you became an amputee. You want those knees to be nice and healthy, Van Gregory. And kneeling on your knees, and I have a couple of friends who are bilateral below the knees, and I know they get from point A to point B on their house walking on their knees. And it drives me nuts. I'm just like, because it's just, it's stress and it's wear and tear on the knees. And you can't get those knees back. So what I would recommend, Van Gregory, is instead doing strengthening exercises. Focus on getting your glutes strong, your quads strong, your hamstrings strong, while you wait for your prosthetic devices to come in. The good news is, Van Gregory, is that you do have an advantage because you have both of your knees, right? So you have that much more natural proprioception compared to someone who is an above the knee amputee. Okay. And yes, you are missing, I'm not taking away from that, you are missing both legs, but bilateral below the knee amputees tend to progress pretty quickly because they have both of their knees. In some cases, sometimes they even progress faster than my above the knee amputees. Okay. So don't be in a hurry. Don't cause yourself an injury because you're in a hurry to get back, to doing that. Go ahead and start focusing on your strengthening. And then also making sure you keep an eye on things like your hip flexor tightness to make sure you're not getting tight there. Capiche? Okay. Theo, how do you find a PT in Albuquerque, New Mexico? Hit the social media. That's what I tell people. And that's how I do it. Whenever somebody emails me or about, hey, do you know a physical therapist in such and such place? I go to social media, guys, and I just say, put a cattle call out there to the Facebook group saying, hey, is there a physical therapist in city who can help with amputees? And I tell people, I encourage people all the time, look outside your zip codes, right? There's not too many of us out there. Hang on. Don't be afraid to go looking out at your zip code. Many of my patients, they do drive quite a bit of distance to come see me. And usually I try my best to work with their schedules and work and maybe, give them more things to work on at home if they're not able to come in as often because of how far away they live. The other thing you want to consider, Theo, is if you find a physical therapist who really wants to help you, that to me is the key factor right there. Because there's a lot of PTs out there who've never worked with an amputee, but they want to help. Okay. So if you have a physical therapist who has a willingness to help you and willingness to learn, the best thing you can do is introduce your physical therapist to your prosthetist. Get the peanut butter together with the jelly. Okay. When you can introduce those two clinicians and they can start communicating with each other, you're going to see better outcomes. And guys, I said it before, I had the benefit of working with one of the best physical therapists in amputee world. Okay. And I had that benefit if he was training me in my early years as a clinician. But where I also learned a huge amount was from the prosthetist that I worked with. His name was Steve, right? He was an amazing prosthetist, and he was down the hallway. So when my physical therapy mentor was not able to help me, Steve was the one answering all my questions about the equipment, about the prosthetic devices, about why this thing wasn't working and why isn't the safety knee unlocking for me? All those kind of questions. I had all the knowledge as a physical therapist on how to do the gait training. I just needed to add that prosthetic component. So for those of you out there who don't have an amputee specialist at your side, okay, you can put the ball, the ball's in your court. You can make that introduction. And guys, I'll say it, if your physical therapist is hemming and hawing and doesn't want to talk to your prosthetist, get yourself a new PT. Just saying, just putting it out there. Get yourself another PT who is willing to help you. They're out there. Debbie says, my knees are golden. No, Ben Gregory, I know. I don't mean to be a meanie to you and tell you can't walk on your knees, but I'm just saying you want to protect those knees. Those are a really important asset for you right now. See, Terry's saying it too. Save your knees unless you're a kid or a teen. No, even my kids are teens because those are exactly the ones. Oh my gosh. I see these little kids and they're just zipping up and down on their knees. And I'm just like, guys, you have another 60 or 70 years that you want to keep those knees healthy. So keep them healthy. I know. Yeah. I'm a PT. Teresa, excellent point. She says, hi, Cozy, but don't PTs need to know how the microprocessor knees work? Yes, they do, Teresa. But here's the thing, okay? Like I said, the bread and butter of our profession is the gait cycle, right? We spend, oh my gosh, I don't know how many hours upon hours upon hours upon hours studying, reviewing, sleeping next to books on the gait cycle, right? The normal textbook human gait cycle, the pathological gait cycle, how a person who's had a stroke will walk compared to a person who's had a burn injury, compared to a person who's had a spinal cord injury. Oh my goodness, right? This is what we absorb in school, okay? So yes, a physical therapist does need to understand how a microprocessor knee works, but that is something that can be easily explained by the prosthetist, right? And usually when I'm talking to PTs on the phone and they're just starting out working with their patient, I'll tell them, okay, you want to engage in stance phase. You want to put your patient in stance phase to start getting them to weight bearing into that microprocessor knee. And if it's a certain kind of microprocessor knee, when they hit that toe load, that knee is going to unlock. Now, a physical therapist is going to understand all of that, even if they've never seen an amputee before. That's just part of our normal education. That's part of our normal vocabulary and jargon that we use in PT world. And a lot of times I'll have to tell PTs, don't get scared because of the microprocessor unit. You just need to learn one or two basic things. And then yes, later on you go and you read the literature and you read more of the finer points. Yes, it's not to say that they don't have to do their research. But in today's society with internet and everything available at our fingertips, this is something that a physical therapist can become quickly well-versed in, right? So it always makes my heart sink when people say, well, I don't go see the PT because they don't know anything about prosthetic devices. And I go, yes, but they can learn. They can learn. And I'll tell you what, introducing them to that prosthetist really makes a world of difference. And guys, even for me, I have a couple of my favorite prosthetists here in town that I am constantly calling because there's new technology out there, or just the sheer amount of technology. There may be something out there that's been out there on the market for years and I've just never come across it before. And I will call the prosthetist and just ask them to teach me about this particular component. Okay. Jody says, I went to professional golf clinic for amputees on Saturday morning. They said I'm a natural. They want to see if I can swing harder, even though I hit the ball well and went far already. I said I was scared to fall if I swing any harder. Should I try? Jody, I would say if you're at that clinic, theoretically, they're going to have people there to kind of spot you a little bit. So hopefully this is something that you can just gradually hit a little bit harder and a little bit harder and a little bit harder. Test out those core muscles. Test out that dynamic balance, right? Let's see. Jeff says, after 3 days at my bilateral above the knee mobility weekend, my back is not hurting quite as much today, but boy, did it hurt during the event. I pushed my limits way beyond normal. It took 3 days to get over it. I believe you. I believe you. Sorry, Bob. Poor Bob. He can't stay upright tonight. Hey, Patrick, how you doing, man? Let's see. Blue Diva says, whenever I get a new socket, one thing I would say is slowly build up your wear time again, as the new socket may affect your balance whilst you get used to your new fitting. Absolutely. This Blue Diva knows her stuff, man. All right. Oh, Debbie, thank you so much. I'm glad I could help. Marianne says, I saw my PT for the first time with my sea legs and we walked. Yay. Not very good at that, but you will be, Marianne. You will be. All right. Terry says, I've taken the time to explain how my vacuum system foot socket works to PTs, curious people, and anybody who will ask while I have a tube curling around my leg. Yeah, Van Gregory definitely, Bob definitely needs more balance practice. We're going to get on that. He looks like a big old nut right now on the floor. But yes, Terry. And again, I've learned so much from my own patients, especially when I would have the occasional amputee in my earlier years who had been an amputee for many, many years. And they would teach me so much about their own prosthetic device and what worked for them and what didn't work for them. So guys, it really is. It's just, you just need a physical therapist with a willingness to learn and a heart to serve. And you'll find that many of us in our profession are exactly that. And it's physical therapy month. So of course I'm going to be tooting our horn for this month. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for this evening. Guys, if I can do a huge ask, if you haven't already done so, follow me on Instagram, please. It's under Kosi Talks. YouTube channel, subscribe there, please. Those two things would be so helpful to me in helping me share this platform and spread the word. And guys, next week, I haven't slept in a long time because I've been just so excited about what's going to happen next week. So guys, put the alarms on your phone. I've been telling you guys, set your alarms on your phone for next week so that Wednesday night, next Wednesday, you can be here on time at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I cannot wait to share with you guys what I've been working on. All right, guys, as always, thank you for letting me be a part of your lives this evening. Cheers for PTs. Thank you, Terry. And we will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. God bless.